my Blazing Knights, it's me Blazeix and welcome back to Blazeix Reacts. Today, we're going to be reacting to Giving Classic Aliens Ultimate Forms Part 3. Without further ado, let's get into the reaction. Wanna go check out the Ink Tank channel? The link will be down below. Wanna go check out the original video itself? Above. I could go check it out, let's jump right in. Without further ado, Blazeix Reacts, let's blaze in action. Love that intro.
Good evening, Internet World and Universe. This is OR Ash, and welcome back to the Drawing Matrix. We didn't forget about this series, I promise. We are back once again to continue our Ultimates Overhauled series. Last time, we finished off the original series' OG 10 transformations, so today, we're working our way down the list with the original series add-ons. Now, I've already done a redesign for Canon in the first video of this series, so no roly-poly panda boy today. But if you do want to see that, you should definitely check out our previous episodes. Got a whole little playlist for him and everything. Anyway, for today's episode, we'll be covering Wildvine, Ditto, Upchuck, iGuy, and Way Big. Let's roll up our sleeves and get to work.
I can't wait to see what...
Get a clue, dude. I'm a vine.
First,
I can't wait to see what they do with Ditto.
The sap-spitting son of a sprig, Wildvine. Looking back at the series to research for this video, Wildvine doesn't seem like he was utilized very well. Most of the time he's mainly used to traverse easily up structures or just throw off his seed bombs. But anatomically speaking, his design seems like it can be used in a much more effective way. We see examples of this usefulness more so from the Florana that kidnap Gwen, that with their closable head cover and sleek root anatomy, these guys are great ambush predators. Being able to travel around stealthily underground and even manipulate plants at their roots, these guys are designed really well to be predators. But that actually made me struggle a bit with coming up with an idea.
So Ben had a predator
trying to find a way to improve upon this already pretty great power.
Or I guess a sentient predator
instead of trying
alien.
to improve upon it, why don't I just try to do something different for fun? Regular Wildvine is based off of a Venus flytrap, so what other carnivorous plants could I use for a design? I ended up taking inspiration from two different carnivorous plants, the Cape Sundew and pitcher plants. I actually tried to come up with a pitcher plant subspecies for Wildvine back whenever I first joined the Ink Tank, so here's another recycled idea returning from the grave. Now, the Cape Sundew work by curling themselves up when they sense something is on them, and pitcher plants lure prey inside of them and swallow them whole, dissolving them in a sort of stomach acid. What I imagine for this Ultimate is that he is now a sort of invasive territorial predator. He no longer hides underground to ambush, but instead posts himself up on his roots that are sunk deep into the ground. He uses a mix of his roots and acidic bile to terraform the surrounding area into his hunting ground.
Oh,
and
that's
just to
crazy!
add some more dangerous plant stuff to him, he also now has spines covered in a paralytic poison, making gobbling up victims much easier. Also, with his new heavy pitcher body, he can fully retreat inside of it for defense. And just for fun, since it replaces his head cover anyway, he can also open the pitcher up into a giant acidic maw. So, to recap, his new abilities include acidic bile he can spray from various parts of his body, paralyzing toxic spites, and his new tough pitcher plant body. As far as trade-offs, he no longer has seed bombs and pretty much loses all of his stealthiness. So, no more camouflage.
He kind of reminds me of that
Pokemon
Pokemon
from
from
present
Kanto.
my ultimate Wildvine, Root Hack.
Ultimate Wildvine.
The winners and still champions!
Next
Man,
up,
do
we
I
have
love
the dude
Ditto.
that divides dubiously, Ditto. Despite the small amount of screen time he has throughout the franchise, I love this Animaniac with an Omnitrix. With how simple his power set is, I really could have taken in any direction for his ultimate. But I decided I wanted to lean more into the cartoony aspect of the Splixin species. When
You're giving him Toon Force?!
Kind of like mitosis stretch out of each other, kind of like Osmosis Jones looking. And I thought it would be cool if for his ultimate he could intentionally squash and stretch his clones into various sizes, shapes, and viscosities. You know, like how cartoons can squash and stretch.
Oh, you're giving him Toon Force!
Before have turned into turnable dials on his forearms and head that he can use to manipulate the aspects of the clones he produces. Think like the customization slider for a character creator in a video game, making them bigger, smaller, lanky, tanky. He's able to make them whatever shape.
Oh, I love
Alter
this.
an already made clone.
I love
turning
Toon
their
Force
dials.
based
The clones
abilities, so
themselves
this
can
just
alter
really
their
adds
own
on
bodies by
onto my
turning
love of
the
this
dials
character.
themselves. The limit that I want to put on this guy will be that the base Ditto, like the first one that the clones come off of, he cannot cannot transform himself, and that the clones he produces cannot clone themselves. Design-wise for his base form, there isn't a lot of change I made from regular Ditto. I thought visually the most notable thing for this ultimate would be the shape and size changing of the clones. So for the base, I kinda drew a little bit of a blank. I did give him a third eye to be more expressive, and gave his body these markings all around.
Oh, this would have been so cool if we got this!
Twisted and shifted slightly, which sounds gross, but I think it's pretty cool. So, to recap, his only new ability is that he has anatomical alteration. As far as his trade-offs, he no longer has the connected sensors that the original has. I wanted it to be a little bit more difficult for them to communicate, so it's more of a limit on them. He also now has limited duplication. I would say Ultimate Ditto would be able to make like 3 really big clones. That's the equivalent of making like 9 regular clones. So, without further ado, may I present my Ultimate Ditto, Squash and Stretch.
Ultimate Ditto. 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 Ditto.
Cool. Exploding
I love this. I love this so much.
got Upchuck power.
For our next course, we are serving up Upchuck. Another one of my favorite aliens. Upchuck is not only one of Ben's strongest aliens, but also one of the most adorable in the most disgusting way. The Gorman species can eat planets, withstand exploding
They're
star
planet
lasers, and
eaters!
survive in the vacuum of space. These guys are already at an evolutionary peak. You don't need to go any further. But let's make some ultimates anyway. I wanted to play off of the original series interpretation of his design, where he's a lot more gooey and amoeba-like. Keeping in the mindset of amoebas and cellular creatures, I wanted to base him off of a tardigrade. They both have the pudgy body
Oh,
framing. and they're
God,
both
that
bears.
looks ugly.
Tardigrades are called water bears, and Upchuck is just a little gastro gummy bear.
Not as much as this.
As far as his abilities, I wondered what a good
Yes.
reason for giving him multiple limbs would be, though. What if when he eats enough, he does a kind of pseudo-mitosis thing and grows a whole new section of body with arms, getting longer and larger the more he eats, like that old phone game Snake. I imagine that they evolved in this way so that rather than needing dozens of Gormand, a singular one could devour an entire planet, wrapping its body around it as it eats until nothing is
That
left.
is
So, to
scary.
recap, as far as his new abilities,
Oh,
he now has
God.
mitosis bodily
Like,
stature.
eating an
He
entire
has
planet
increased
is enough
size
for, like,
because
a
he's
bunch of
big
them.
old
Imagine if
giant
just
boy.
one of them does
Quick
that.
regeneration. As far as trade-offs, technically, because he only has arms, I got rid of his legs. Also, I took away the barf bombs, just because I feel like with this, he crawls around like a centipede and just kind of like uses the acid spit to melt and scoop things into his mouth. He doesn't really do that anymore, if that makes sense. So, without further ado, may I introduce my ultimate Upchuck, Ouroboros.
Ultimate Upchuck.
Oh, that's crazy.
Next up, we have Upchuck. Again. Another reason Upchuck is one of my favorite aliens is because he's the first ever to have more than one form in the Omnitrix. It was so cool to see them take
It's
something
so
as
crazy.
simple as a joke about design differences from one series to another and turn it into a species lore concept where there are 2 races of them that exist. So with the last Ultimate, I already converted the perk design. Now it's on to the Merc. His design is a lot more lizard dinosaur-y looking, so I wanted it to seem like one of those giant monsters that would stomp around eating buildings and shit. To help
Like
convey
Godzilla.
that, we are increasing his bodily size about 20 times and giving him rough, spiny scales that can crash through structures.
He kind of
reducing
reminds
them
me
to
of Spitter.
bits in a single swing. You know those weird bumps Upchuck has on the back of his head? Rob refers to them as neck nipples.
Upchuck has always had these weird, like, little growths on the back of his head.
This is neck nipples, right?
God, I hate that. I hate that so much. I don't like the thought that they're nipples because imagine someone trying to milk a Gorman.
Oh,
Stop! No, don't imagine it.
They've always seemed kind of pointless, like there's no reason they're on Upchuck's head. So I'm going to be turning them into explosive eat-seeking missiles. And yes, I said eat-seeking to help with his destructive diet. Lastly, I want to make eating mass amounts of stuff a lot easier for him. So, I wanted to give him Vortex Breath, so that he's able to suck up all the debris from his destruction. And
He's Kirby!
So, to recap, his new ability abilities include Eat-Seeking Missiles,
I love it.
Mass Size
I
and
love
Strength
this.
Increase, and Tough Spiny Scales. As far as his trade-offs, he no longer has Barf Bombs, he now has Missiles, so it's fine, and he no longer has Tongues. He has the Vortex Breath now, so the Tongues aren't really needed. Other than that,
He's
may I
just
present my
Kirby!
second ultimate Upchuck, Gutzilla.
Two.
Hey, you know what they say? Third time's the charm, right?
No, he got another one.
Look, I think Upchuck is cool as fuck, and I kept getting ideas, so we're doing another one. We're doing another Upchuck.
I don't care. This is
This ultimate,
fun.
I'm basing it more so in the lore of the Gorman's abilities. Explained in the Omniverse episode Tummy Trouble, the stomachs of all Gormans are connected to a shared gastro-pocket dimension, and that got me thinking with portals. What if instead of barf bombs, Upchuck could chuck up puke portals? These portals would be connected to the gastro dimension and allow for travel from either one portal to another, or to Upchuck's weird stomach mouth thing that I'm giving him. Upchuck could eat something with his paunch and it come flying out of a portal he puked up a few minutes ago, or vice versa. Goes in the portal, comes out the paunch. This one is meant to feel more like a convergent design between both races of Gorman, so I pulled in elements from both. He's a bit lizardy, but he's still got some jelly bits in there, you know? So to recap, as far as his new abilities, he has puke portals, and let's say his body is stretchy so that he can make bigger and smaller portals need be. As far as trade-offs, I would say he no longer has acidic spit because living things may be going through the portals and that would hurt them. Also, he technically loses his mouth because he gets his paunch, which is just like this big old stretchy gooey patch on the front of his body. Without further ado, let me present my third ultimate Upchuck design, Regurgigate.
I love it. I love it.
Who's running, Metal Mouth? Bring it along.
I hope you're excited, because next up we're
I can't wait to
looking
see what they do
at
with Eye-Guy.
Eye-Guy has always been a pretty strange alien. He can shoot lasers, fire, and ice out of various eyeballs all over his body. He's also constantly making eye puns, and to top it off, he shows up out of fucking nowhere in the show.
Oh, completely.
Something I wanted to do for sure was round off his abilities. To me, at least, it's always felt like he just has too many things going on. So instead of all of the elemental eye stuff, he now can only manipulate psionic energy. The reasoning for psionic energy specifically is that 1, I wanted to base him off of a beholder from D&D. 2, I thought him being able to levitate and remote control his eyes would be a pretty interesting power set and really useful with combat. And 3, because psionic... Get it? Because it
Oh
has
my gosh, that was horrible,
the
Ash!
word. Working off of the beholder inspiration,
That was horrible.
I puffed him up into an orb shape, and from the beginning,
That's coming from
I
me.
didn't want to just cover him in eyes again. It's not a bad design, but I didn't want to do it. So the psionic eyes that he generates are made inside of his skull and are dispensed out of his mouth. Now, the eye bulbs on his back are actually based on those old squeezy bead toys, plus the fact that octopoids
I
are
have one of
primarily
those.
made of cartilage and have kind of gelatinous bodies. That still makes sense with it being kind of stretchy and gross looking. So to recap, as far as his new abilities, he now has remote control psionic eyes that can shoot energy, and let's just say they can explode too. Why not? As far as trade-offs, again, it's bye-bye legs. Because, yes, he does still have legs, but because he levitates and doesn't walk and is gigantic now, there is no way they can support his weight. Other than that, may I present my ultimate eye guy, I call Psychic.
Very stretch.
Ultimate Eye Guy. Whoa, check me out. I'm not just big, I'm way big.
I love
For
way
today's
big.
final ultimate,
But he's
we
just
will be not
underutilized.
only redesigning, but reconceptualizing one of the biggest letdowns of all of the Ultimates. Now, don't get me wrong, I love Waybig's design. I know Waybig is supposed to be based on Ultraman, and his Ultimate is meant to resemble another version of Ultraman. I get it. I'm just really not a fan of the execution of it, though. I wanted to try to use another Ultraman form as inspiration for his design, but from looking through them, I couldn't find anything that was really clicking in my brain. So instead, I looked over at another Japanese giant fighting alien series that I think has a really cool creature aesthetic, Evangelion. With my Ultimate, I took a lot of inspiration for the angels from that series. They all have kind of like creepy, giant, looming bodies, and what seems like unfeeling expressions. And I really wanted to try to express that with Waybig. So I imagine his Ultimate like leagues upon leagues more powerful and scary. And like the original Ultimate Waybig, mine is larger than the base form Waybig, but I'm talking like the size of a planet larger.
Oh God!
To the lore bits that Taku stars are born from cosmic storms, I wanted to make his physical body more akin to the same physical properties of a cosmic storm. And due to that anatomical fact, he is actually able to alter his size and density. He can either shed off storm to get smaller or generate more storm to get larger, which is what all the wispy bits around his legs are. And also, I wanted to give him some of that really cool cosmic lightning. Also, kind of a
gave him
weird
Conker's
thing
hockey?
I wanted to give him. He's just big and makes grunts and growl sounds. Other than that, may I introduce my interpretation of an Ultimate Waybig I call Vast Mass.
So you just made him way big with Conker's hockey.
For watching. Please let me know what you think.
That's
of the
why I
Ultimates
see it.
Cooked up today in the comments down below. Also, make sure to check out our links.
I think Waybig had to be my favorite, honestly.
Twitch channel, our comic 5 years later, as well as my socials, where you can see stuff like the albedo edits of the Ultimates.
Or the Ditto.
Posted probably sometime later today, as long as
Dude,
I'm not
I
Disney
love the
World.
Dittos more
Pretty
than
soon,
Waybig.
we're going to be dropping a new episode of Ambient covering Ledger Domain. And with the spooky season coming up, we'll be evolving some inner aliens pretty soon. So make sure you join our Patreon, so you can get weekly updates on all of those things, as well as some of our other project, and
I do love the
almost
monster
2-year
aliens, though.
backlog of behind-the-scenes content. And it's all only $1 a month. You ain't losing nothing, it's $1. Please, help support us, so we can make more content like this. But other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. As always, I am OR Ash, and I'm surviving. Are you? Peace.
I'm really debating, do I love Ultimate Waybig a lot more than Ultimate Ditto? Like, the ability to clone and to, like, adjust just to clones so that they can either be more lanky, more strong, more small. Like, that's so cool. But Toggle Stars were already cool. It's just he made them more cool. Like, to say that they're so big that they were born from Cosmic Storm, that's insane! Oh, I love that. Oh, I think it might have to be a tie between Ditto and Waybig. Oh, they're so cool. Oh, I cannot wait to see what they do with the monster aliens that we got. Oh, they're gonna be good. I already know it. Anyways, I do hope you all enjoyed. Be sure to leave a like, add to your favorites. Want to see more Scorpion videos from this channel, subscribe. I make videos weekly or daily depending on my schedule. Have any requests for reactions whatsoever, leave a link to the video down below. Make sure it's something I'd be interested in, like Mario, Sonic, Ben 10, TMNT, or Pokemon, and I would definitely react to it. Our goal is to hit 10,000 subscribers, so help me reach that goal, and you will get a special video from yours truly. With that being said, I hope you all enjoy. Stay tuned for more videos, and remember, many hearts never apart. Later, my boys and knights. Blazeix, blazing out! Until next time, take care.